1995, I've been working with Tim Beret, and just there is not a more dedicated, more committed guy that I've ever worked with, and he does an excellent job, and I know we're going to miss him. Like Coach Sweeney said, he gets to do some things that he wants to do and not be bogged down with too much stuff. I don't think I would ever stand up here and say that we didn't have a great class that we signed. But this class that we just signed is very, very special. Coach Sweeney just hit it from A to Z. But I do believe that we covered all the bases. You know, we really did. We hit, you know, just about, if not all, every position. He hit all our needs, and that's the most important thing. You know, 2 years in a row now, we've had smaller classes than a lot of teams, and that says a lot to our program about retaining guys and be able to develop our guys. You know, you've probably heard the philosophy that we've talked about here in the past about how it takes a village to raise a child. We talk about that a lot with our players here, and when they come on their recruiting trips here, we show them the picture of all of the families and how many people are going to be involved with them as they go throughout their career here at Clemson. And it's so true, and it really carries over in the recruiting process. You know, when we're on the road, it takes a village, and that village is, you know, all the people involved behind the scenes, the coaches on the road. There's so many different tactics and different ways that we go attack this recruiting process. But just being on the road with the full-time coaches, it's been an honor to be a part of that. And it's pretty neat to work with these guys and be able to communicate that the way that we do. And we have different strategies for each guy. And there's no egos in our staff, and that helps a lot of things, and we just communicate very, very well, which makes things go smoother. You know, it all starts with Coach Sweeney and his vision for our program and his leadership and what he represents, and you know, it's easy for us because we just go under his direction, and we echo all of the comments that he gives to us in the meeting room, and then we go attack it out there in a recruiting process as we go look at finding guys that fit our program. And you've heard it before. I mean, we're looking for the fit. We want to find the right fit. You know, we don't just go chase the stars behind the name. A lot of times we don't know how many stars there are, to be honest with you, when we first start recruiting them. And it's just such an important process as far as getting that right fit. And so that's what we do, and obviously it's worked. It worked so far. Behind the scenes, I'm going to take a few minutes here to recognize some people, because I think it's important to publicly state this, and because they work so hard and don't get recognized nearly as much as maybe the coaches do that are on the road. I mentioned to you guys and girls about the communication that is involved when you're doing this recruiting thing, and there's a ton of it, so we can be on the same page. It really starts with Jordan Sorrells. You know, he's in charge of the communication in recruiting, and it's amazing what he does. It's amazing what he does, and I work for him. Let's just get that straight. I work for that guy because, yeah, I'm just an added piece or an extension to what he does. He does an excellent job. Obviously, Thad Turnipseed, the director of recruiting, and you know, the facilities that we have here to show these recruits when they come on campus, second to none. And that's a big part of this process, as we all know. Also in that office, Tyler Clements, Andy Teasdall, the CRAs, the Tiger Pride, just doing an excellent job. Late at night, they're working. During the weekends, when we have recruits on campus, they're working. You know, so there's a lot of work involved that you all might not see. Jonathan Gant, who's the director of new and creative media. If we didn't have Jonathan Gant, you know, our brand would not be near like it is today. He gets that out there for us and does an excellent job. DJ Gordon, who helps Mike Dooley in football operations, but he also helps with creative media. And he has got a creative mind. So perfect title for him, but he has an unbelievable mind that gives us great ideas to utilize throughout the recruiting process. Jeff Fellers, he's the graphic design coordinator, and he is amazing on what he sends out with these graphic designs, whether it's mailings that we send out or, on social media, some of the graphics that he makes. Coach Scott, Jeff Scott, just told me that he made 50 different graphics for just Justin Ross. So that takes time to do that, and you could go ask, all of the recruits how neat these graphics are, and I know you guys have seen them as well, but he's a very, very talented young man, and all the graphic students that work with him. Todd Green, all the videos that go out, and these prospects are watching at an early phase of this recruiting process, is a big time influence on these guys and his whole staff. As you get into guys on campus that help out, Jeff Davis, Allison Waymeyer, Savannah Bailey, and the Paul Journey people. I've had several of our players and their parents come up to me, after they're here and say that Jeff Davis and his staff is an integral part of why they chose Clemson. I know Trevor Lawrence's family said that to me, and there's several others that have made that statement, and so huge impact on not just our players but our recruits to get them here. That's why we have the Paul Journey in the beginning, right when you walk in the front door, it's right there. So just that life after football is obviously appealing, but we're for real about it, and they do a great job. Brad Scott, Director of Football Player Development, we all know how special he is and how valuable he is with this process. He allows, he communicates with our top guys, especially right after they sign, throughout the process of transitioning to becoming a student here and into their first year. And obviously when they come on unofficial visits before they've signed, they get a ton of information from Brad Scott, and he's very detailed and just does a great job in his area. Morgan Tadlock, assistant for recruiting operations. A lot of the nuts and bolts are from her, and she kind of holds it together and helps Jordan with so many things in the recruiting department. Jennifer Benton, let me talk to you about Jennifer Benton. She is in office operations, but she's dealing with us and our travel on the road. Talk about flying different places and how that changes. Brent Venable changes like on an hourly, he changes, and she makes it happen. And we are very fortunate to have someone like Jennifer Benton. Paul Harrington and the nutrition staff, the chefs, Donna McCain and Haley downstairs, just unbelievable people that have made a big impact. I don't know if you heard Jackson Carmen comment on Donna and her staff and just how that impacted his decision. And all these people are so involved with this process. The academic staff and the Neary Center, led by Steve Duzan and Matt Lombardi, just they sacrifice a lot of weekends to be here and to show them how important obviously the academics are here, and what these kids need to be doing, and giving them the expectations of our program, and especially obviously academically. Joey Batson and his strength staff here all the time. He's a huge selling point. He's another guy that was here when I played, and just the experience that he has, and how many times I've heard our players say how much they love him. Maybe not when it's 5:30 in the morning, they don't say that, but after the fact, they are fired up about Joey Batson and the whole strength staff. Danny Poole's here for the weekends when we have guys come through here, whether it's unofficial visits or official visits, and he does a great job in the sports medicine. All of our GAs and PDs and analysts that aren't the full-time coaches, but that work just as long as we do, wrap their arms around these prospects when they come on campus. And that's where we get that philosophy of it takes a village to raise a child. And these kids and their families, when they show up on campus, they can sense it, touch it, feel it every time that they come on campus. And it's because of those guys. I have to mention the pilots that fly us around. James Allison Daniel Arblaster, Kevin Chapman, and Jason Williams, they do a great job. I mean, they're all over the place with us, and are just great guys. Reggie Pleasant, the life coach and in charge of FCA, he's a big part of this process as well, and just excited about him being a part of it. A lot of comments from the families about him, and I just want to take that time to recognize those people because they are so important in this process, and sometimes they don't get recognized, quite as much as the coaches. And then obviously, just moving on to our class of 2018, Coach Sweeney hit all the main parts, but just a special class. Just really excited about it. It just continues to get better and better, and excited about these young men as people, more importantly than the talent that they bring, because they're perfect fits, and we